Second presentation today is on innovative hygiene and storage solutions with Dee Hunter from Kohler and Englefield. Dee's presentation will cover innovative hygiene and storage solutions in the bathroom, including touchless technology. It's important post-pandemic with looking in particular at the Kohler Veil Integrated Toilet and also the back-to-wall touchless toilets and the Englefield Side Recessed Wall. It's in fact wall with storage that's recessed into the cavity framing of your bathroom wall. Dee has spent the last 6 years as the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Kohler and Englefield in both New Zealand and Australia. Previously, she worked at Fletcher's and has a strong background in the building industry, and she works very closely across the Tasman, looking at the specification of the Kohler portfolio in all commercial products across New Zealand and Australia, and works with group house building companies, multi-residential projects and 5- and 6-star hotels. And Dee, I hear you're currently working on completing the fit out at the Opera Resident Apartments, pretty prestigious building in Sydney.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting building, thanks Matt. They sold all the apartments in 2 hours at 95,000 Australian dollars per square metre, so it should be pretty special by the time that they're finished. COVID hasn't helped, unfortunately.
Wow, that's an impressive square metre rate. Haven't heard that too often, so, well...
half a million for 5 square metres.
Yeah, okay. We'll look forward to the case study on that one, seeing your gear in there. Yeah.
Brushed rose gold, unfortunately, so it hasn't been an easy finish.
Wow, okay. We'll look forward to some photos. But more importantly, let's get into your presentation today. Looking forward to that. And over to you.
Cheers, thanks, Matt. Let me know if there's any technical issues.
Will do. Yep, good as gold.
Welcome everybody, thanks for joining me. Look, I've got the very glamorous subject this afternoon to talk to you all about toilets. And I guess there's toilets and then there's toilets. You're probably all aware of the legacy and the history of bathrooms and change and significant events that have caused that. And one of them previously was the 1930 post-pandemic era, where we went from having very wooden-based bathrooms to very ceramic and tile-based bathrooms. And the reason for that was that it provided much easier surfaces to clean, like the sort of white subway tiles that you see in the butchers' shops, etc. We're seeing some very interesting trends, I mean, not just in Australia and New Zealand, but in fact globally as a direct result of the COVID pandemic. And one of the things that people sort of, cotton on to the whole hand washing regime that they're being encouraged to utilise is that in fact, most people, when they've been to the toilet, before they even get to hand washing, touch a very common element, which is the flush button on the toilet. And as you've seen, demand growing for such things as, touchless and sensor tapware, you'll see that with hand dryers. People are now saying they want touchless flushing as well. So they want more than sensor and also want it incorporated into residential households. One of the biggest issues also with this has been the lack of toilet paper, and most of you are probably aware of bidet, which has changed significantly over the years from a cold vitreous Trina unit, which stood alongside the toilet, had a requirement for a towel or just a cold water tap, to the more integrated type technologies of intelligent toilets, which put the two together, so the space saving, and add a lot of fabulous electronic features that I'll take you through shortly that make it a very comfortable and gracious experience. The biggest pushback that we've seen is that a large number of these toilets that people have utilised overseas and seen come into the country are incredibly ugly. And something that Kohler has absolutely in their DNA is around design, intention and story. And so the product I'm going to show you now is called Kohler Veil, and if any of you have been to South Africa to watch the World Cup, you'll know that the design of this is actually based off a South African football stadium, but it's also around the flow of material. So the execution of this, which is available in both wall hung and wall faced, probably not recommended to be installed in the front window of your hotel or your lounge room, is the veil. It's available as a whole suite. You can see here that there's a bath, there's a wall hung and a wall face, and there's also matching basins. The Veil is an experience that you can essentially walk in, there's a remote control, and you can go in and conduct your business, and at no point do you actually have to use any paper or touch any buttons, and it's got some very, very cool features. For a start, when you walk into the bathroom, it has a seat cover that is, you can change the sensor in terms of distance, and it will automatically open the seat. When you go to sit down, you'll see in the middle there, there's a beautifully designed French curved seat, and it's heated. So in winter, that's an extra nice little treat. The minute that you sit down, an automatic fan starts up, and what it does is it actually discharges, it sucks all of the odor out of the pan, and there's a charcoal filter which is replaceable at the back of the toilet. The bidet functioning and wand itself, every time the wand comes into the toilet area, which never touches water that's in the pan or a bodily part, is sterilised with a special e-water. And then every 24 hours is the pre-programmed cycle that a UV light actually fully sanitises the stainless steel wand. When you've had your full wash cycle, which can be back, front, both, turbocharged, spiral, or sugar wash, which is a gentle spray, there's a blow dryer that will gently dry your pieces, and that therefore means that you don't need to touch or use any toilet paper. So there's an ecological aspect to it as well. But last but not least, it's a very clever little toilet. So it actually knows how long you've been sitting for. And if you sit for less than a minute, it will, when you stand up, the body just casts a shadow over the touchless unit, and it automatically will flush, half flush. If you've been sitting for longer than a minute, it automatically uses the full dual flush. The other thing is that in the tech lab that we have in Wisconsin, which is developing a number of state-of-the-art products that include bathroom cabinets, mirrors, baths that self-fill. All of these things can be integrated onto an app which is called Kohler Connect, and you can set your personal preferences up on that. But the thing we're really aware of is, as people want integrated technology in the bathroom, sometimes they want a very spa-like experience as well, and they don't want the technology in there. So there has to be a manual redundancy for absolutely everything. That just makes it a nice, simple experience when you're in there. And obviously, if there's a power cut, you want the ability to flush the toilet. So the toilet buttons can be manually activated as well. You don't need power for touchlessness. One of the other things that's important is that when it's dark in the bathroom, if you go in, there's a light that automatically is on. It's a blue backlit, and it also lights up the pan. So it doesn't egress into the bathroom during the night when you're asleep, but it does mean that there's some safety in actually being able to find the toilet. Something we have found, our main customers for this initially we thought would all be Asian or Middle European who've experienced it, but we're now finding we get a lot of people in their 60s and 70s, 80s. They don't want to go to a retirement village. They want aged in place, and having something that gives somebody their dignity and can just press a one-touch button to clean themselves. And it's a very beautiful toilet that, when people are coming in to use or share the bathroom in a house, it's not something that's really overwhelming and hasn't got that whole ADA sort of, care look. So we found that that's been a very growing part of our customer base, is people who want that aged in place and want something in a shared space that's very elegant but has purposeful and integrates technology. The thing that's probably the most important with this is it's very easy clean. It's got a powerful rimless flush. And I know some people get themselves tied up in knots. I think, well, this is, it's a technical product. It requires an RCD plug. It's got Bluetooth. Yes, it does, but it's just a basic in-wall tank installation for either wall hung or wall faced. And you have a power unit in the back, which carries the cord through to the bidet, so it's got full functions. And there's actually a side panel, so you've got a manual override at the frontal wall as well. Something that's more widely available, usable and affordable for the average residential home is Australasia's first touchless flushing back-to-wall toilet called Modern Life. And when you look at the pictures that you see here, there's a couple of design elements that are very, very different to anything you've seen before. The most important is if you look at the tank lid, the profile of that is identical to the slim seat. Now, slim toilet seats are really taking off in popularity. People are preferring them to the much bigger, what we call a wrap. type seat, which would probably be at least double the thickness. And this sort of type of look it's a very Italian look that was started with Catalano, and we're starting to see a lot more of that in our more modern based toilets. There's a lot of features to this particular back-to-wall toilet, and it retails for under $1,000. The most important is that it's completely touchless flush. So when somebody goes to the toilet and stands up, they either wave their hand to the left for a full flush with a large disc, or to the right for a half flush. And again, if there was any failure with the system which is inside the tank, what you can't see here is that there's a small white button hidden on the left-hand side of the tank, but easily accessible, that will conduct a full manual flush. It's a pneumatic-based system, and one of the biggest issues that I've had in convincing people is they think it's gimmicky. It is far from that. We've worked for 3 years to create this product. It's a global product for us. Even the Americans are picking it up, which is interesting because they like their sort of more bigger American-based toilets. But this particular unit is watermark approved in Australia and has been tested as a requirement of that up to 25,000 flushes. So the completely waterproof battery unit, which sits inside the tank, just takes 2 D-cell batteries, will last approximately 2 years. That's if the kids aren't consistently waving their hand over it just to play with it. The other really interesting thing about this toilet is it also the world's first truly rimless pan. There is absolutely no rim on the front of this pan. It's a beveled, sloped pan. And what you can see in the bottom picture I've got there is excessive liquid, as we call it, rolls off a DFI-based coating and into the pan if it's left behind. And on the bottom right, you can see it's actually got a completely invisible rim channel. So the benefit of that is when the seat's up, that if somebody does pee on that part of it, it will actually roll itself down into the toilet. And it's the Kohler Clean Coat that it is coated with around the whole top of the pan. Another very cool feature of this toilet is that the seat can be upgraded to an elite seat. And what you're seeing there is a very knacky little unit that carries 2 AA batteries, and you get a card with 3 cents. And so with the battery is a small amount of heat that lets a nice fragrance come out. But most importantly is it actually has a night light. And that night light, again, is great for big evenings, I guess, when people come home, and for a little bit of safety. How that night light works is depending on if the seat on the toilet is closed or open. If you look at the top left-hand side, if the seat is open and it's dark, when it hears a sound, that small little LED pinstripe will come on to enable you to locate the toilet and see inside the pan. If the seat's closed, the LED light lights up just on the back of the tank, so you know to actually lift the seat. And of course, when you move off and go back to bed and it hears no sound, it automatically switches the LED light off. The seat itself with the bracket that holds that little unit is completely quick release. And the other great feature of it is that, a lot like some of the aeroplane toilet seats that you'll see, is that if you're needing to lift the seat, it's been beveled in such a way that at no point will your hand touch any part of the pan if you're wanting to lift it, or if you're wanting to actually release it for full cleaning. So I think one of the interesting things we're now seeing is, Englefield has been renowned for many, many years for acrylic lined showers. Not to everybody's taste, but a lot more affordable. And one of the things that we've been striving for is a lot more innovation around this and making them a lot better to look at. We've had a lot of demand in the market now for areas that have strong seismic activity, that don't want to put tiled showers in. And we're also working with a number of spec builders and group home builders and residential companies where they don't, or they will not, in fact, put a tiled shower on a second floor or above because of the risk of leakage. One of the great things about tiled showers is that you get to customise and put a recessed shelf that fits within the wall cavity. And this is where we came up with the idea for this latest sort of acrylic storage solution, which is the side recessed shower wall. The forming and the folding of that is actually a patented activity of ours that we protect pretty fiercely. So how this wall works is there's actually 3 shelves with a 1 degree angle on them from back to front to make sure that they drain properly. and it's formed so that it offers a recessed shelving system. The middle panels will take the really large bottles that the kids seem to get now, the 1 litres of their purple shampoos, etc., for their dyed hair. And you can see here that when the wall is installed to a new build or that it's fitting inside the standard framing, and it's compatible with either 400 or 600 mil stud centres. So the most important thing, I think, in a small environment, particularly where someone's got to put a 900 by 900, I don't know if you've experienced a 900 by 900 shower, but if you bend over to shave your legs, your bottom will force the door open. So it's nice to have some shelving that doesn't actually invade or intrude into the shower space, but actually goes into the shower wall. And it's made from Duracryl, which is, we use the European Centerstand anti-bac technology. All of our acrylic actually is shipped in from Europe, like most people, and then we form it locally at our manufacturing plant in Auckland. So last but not least with this product is that it's completely scratch and mold resistant, so it's very easy to clean. And we're very proud to bring you our side rest shower wall. I've actually got videos. I've put videos here at the end of it for each of these products. But if you're wanting something more around the design intention, particularly of the Kohler product, I'm really happy to supply those as well. That is my presentation today.
Hey, thanks, Dee. Certainly appreciated that, and enjoyed the reference to the purple shampoo. Thanks for that.
I need it.
Hey, just a quick question on the dimensions of the shower unit with the recessed wall. So can you just give us a reference to the height and width of that?
So it comes in a number of different sizes. Its standard height is 1930, but we do 2-sided and 3-sided, so we can do full alcove. So 9x9, 1x1, 9x750, 12x9. And again, in square and round, we can also do 9x9, 1x1, and 12x9. So there's multiple sizes, 2- and 3-sided. What we're doing at the moment is we're working on a 2-metre height as well, because we've got some Kohler showering product we're bringing from Europe, which is that extra, it's the extra sort of 70 mil as well.
Yep, and just talk about the for the base. What are the options you've got?
Currently, we have we use our own acrylic trays. We've got a lot of innovation going on with our tray development, but we've got all of the matching trays for it. And we've recently released a product I can send you the video of called Slip Safe. And SlipSafe is it's a European production technique which takes a standard acrylic tray, but as part of the production process, it's not a post-production process. It's got this non-slip laminate that gets extruded into it, and the safety rating is as high as you would get at a public swimming pool. So for people with young children, for people with elderly that are using the shower, we're upgrading everybody to the SlipSafe tray, because it's, obviously there's a lot more safety when people are standing behind a glass enclosure with a bit of water running. Gotcha.
Okay. Well, that's good. Look forward to hearing more about that. Now, we talked about the veil. Seems to be a lot quite a complex system, but I'm just wondering around the intricacy of installing. Can you talk around the difficulty to actually put it in place?
It's actually not a difficult install. We've got a number of trained installers that we've done ourselves that we recommend, but at the same time, essentially anyone who can install an in-wall tank will be able to install this. They have to get the electrician to install, obviously, a compliant RCD, because power is required to the unit. But essentially, that's the only additional feature that is required for the veil, and it's P or S as well.
Okay. Well, that sounds really relatively straightforward. Cost seems to be some pretty lot involved.
So the retail price of the unit in the market is $5,000, just roughly, there or abouts.
Yep.
And there's a slight difference. It's slightly more expensive for the wall face, seems to be a bit more VC in it. but price is not a barrier to our customers. We've never had anybody who's interested in it yet that's balked at the price. So there are products, you know, you can buy a matching bidet seat and integrate it with a toilet, but you just don't get the same look and you don't get the same experience. There are competitors' products on the market for as much as $11,500. So,
wow, okay,
a lot below.
Yeah. And just thinking about the water consumption, you mentioned Watermark for the rating for the other products.
Oh, for touchless, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And so just thinking about the Veil, just any consideration around water consumption there? It's quite important to a few of us in the country at the moment.
Yeah, it's identical to all your standard back to wall toilets. I think sometimes because Kohler's an American company, people assume that we're using siphonic technology, which actually, in my opinion, I wish it'd take off because it's the best flushing experience that you can get. However, they use a lot more water than we do. Our toilets all meet the standard well standards. I can't even tell you what they are off the top of my head. I'm terrible because I had to race home with a power cut and don't have the engineers here. The other interesting thing is that we've got tapware and we've got showering with reduced literages per minute. And this might be a very general thing to say. We get expressions of interest from specification for, you know, various eco projects, etc. But generally people talk about it, but nobody actually wants to buy it and have that limited, you know, litre per minute experience themselves. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah, it's obviously just a consideration for, or just more mindful than ever with what's going on, although there seems to be plenty of rain around this part of the world at the moment.
There is where I am, it's pouring.
Yep. Hey, now, Dee, how do people get in contact with you if they have got any questions or comments post this webinar? We didn't have your...
Emailing me is fine, Matthew. I don't know if you want to put my email out there, but I'm more than happy to take any questions because I know a lot of the stuff I've talked about sounds quite complex, but it actually isn't. And it's all available today. You know, this is not technology of the future. It's here and now.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, well, certainly we'll make a recording of this available and we'll have your email address there in the show notes so people can contact you on that. Dee, with you, any final comments?
No, I'd just like to thanks for the opportunity. It's been great. It's nice to be able to talk about something that you're passionate about to people who may be interested.
Yep, I'm getting the passion there, Dee, so thank you for that. Appreciate you delivering that information and providing some good experiences. I love the example of the 900 by 900 with shaving your legs and your bum pushing the door open. That's nice mental picture for us. But,
well, we do a lot of focus groups with people who are end users to find out, you know, what they like, what they don't like, and it's staggering what you find out about people using the showers.
Yeah, well, it can make a big difference for something we use, you know, every day. So thanks, Dee.